No, 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 no.
What's up guys, I'm back again with Huawei. You guys remember what that happened with Huawei previously? Every major US company cut their ties with Huawei, but Huawei didn't stop there. They are fighting and fighting and fighting and about to win this game. Basically this all started in 2012 when a company named Huawei started growing rapidly in smartphone world. Then they decided that they should have to build their own OS because they know anything can happen between US and China, and if something bigger happen like what is happening right now, it will definitely affect Huawei, because at the time Huawei was completely dependent on Google, and with the months they've made their team who built Huawei's operating system, they've been working on this project very confidently that no one would allow to use their personal phones there. And now in which thing they've been working on since 2012 is the actual real thing that will replace Google's Android version, which could be called as Hongmeng OS in China and Oak OS in the rest of the world. We have these early screenshot images of Huawei's on OS, which shows how their OS will look like, and it's actually based on Android. As you can see here, it says Android Green Alliance, which means it will be based on Android, means open source Android program with no Google. There will be no Google Play services, no Google Play product, no Gmail application, and no other Google services. It will be just an Android but without Google services, and it's a good news because it will be able to run all the apps that your current Android phone have just without Google. And the most interesting part is that it could be 60% faster than Android. And not only this, Huawei has been working on their operating system so hard that it would not be just compatible with phones, but it will also be able to run TVs, laptops, wearables, and even cars, which creates great ecosystem between Huawei devices. And as for the Play Store, Huawei is in talks with AppToy to be the Play Store's alternative, which has over 800,000 apps, and Huawei actually has their own store called App Gallery, and they just started emailing developers to ask them to move their apps to their app gallery. And I think a lot of them will do it because Huawei has a very strong grip in the smartphone market, and developers don't want to miss their biggest customer. And Huawei's OS will be based on Android. They don't need to recode any application, they literally need to get their application and upload it on Huawei app gallery. And the most interesting part of the story is that other Chinese manufacturers including Xiaomi, Oppo, and Vivo has also started testing Huawei's OS in their phones. Now looking at all this, Google has actually spoken to US that they would allow Huawei to use Android, because obviously if Huawei actually came up with their own OS and if it's actually 60% faster than Android, then why other manufacturers won't try this? Huawei is the second largest smartphone brand in the world. They sells millions of phones globally, and if these millions of people start liking this OS, then other manufacturers also start moving to Oak OS, which at the end definitely affects the sales of Google. But according to a report from Financial Times, Google is asking to Trump administration that US should still do business with Huawei, because if Huawei comes up with their Oak OS without Google Play product, then it will be an easy target for hackers to hack, which will ultimately be threat to the US. These Huawei phones with fork version of Android could open a door of hacking, and if someone in US from their Samsung phone or any other phone sends something to another region on their Huawei phone, then there will be a chance that your message can be read by any malware on that device. Google's point is absolutely logical, but a billion-dollar company Huawei, how they launch things without any proper protection? And if the forked version of Android is an international security risk, then why they're even allowing Amazon to use the forked version of Android? Obviously Google has almost complete monopoly in the OS market, and if Huawei came up with their Oak OS, then they'll 100% lose their biggest customer. And if Oppo, Vivo, and Xiaomi also join Huawei, then OS market will be divided with a big margin, which at the end affect the sales of Google. But seems like Huawei is playing two roles in this story. On one side, Huawei is building their own OS, whereas on the other side, they are refining their 10th version of Android for their phones, which is going to be the EMUI 10. So like before, Huawei is still giving a first priority to Android because obviously they don't want to hurt Google. But if US doesn't allow Huawei to use Android, then they'll definitely start using their Oak OS with the Huawei Mate 30. And as for the Huawei Mate 30 series, we have some crazy leaks about that, which I'm gonna discuss in one of my upcoming videos, so stay tuned for that, and yeah, see you soon.